or she is going to do. And I think that's the level of data that exists today. We should be, from a commerce perspective, should be able to predict that a user is essentially going to buy a product in the next 1 week. That's the level of data that we deal with, terabytes and petabytes of data, and that's our core business. And advertising is purely an application of, on top of that core data. So, what's our scale? What is it that we deal with in terms of our scale? And I think when we look at our scale, we get pretty excited by it because some of the numbers don't necessarily, you don't write those numbers every day. So, every month we show roughly about 100 billion ads to people. 100 billion ads are given out through multiple systems that we have across the world. People look at those, etc. In the last 1 year, that's a trillion. In the last 1 year, we have shown over 1 trillion ads to people. When I put it down, I actually had to count because I just don't know when the trillion starts. And that's the level of scale that we are dealing with today. Every second, we show 80,000 ads. And we love this. We love this because we think we are still scratching the surface. We think from where we are right now, we can go about 20 to 50x in the next few years. We believe that we have impacted transactions in the last 1 year of worth $2 billion. This is the economic transactions that we have impacted. And we still say that mobile is in its early days. We still say that we don't totally understand mobile. Internally, we also believe that we are just doing some basic things right. We have a huge distance to go, but even at that level, we are impacting roughly about $2 billion of transactions. And these $2 billion of transactions is being done through about 800 million people that see ads through us. 800 million people. I think in about 3-4 months, we'll touch India's population. And by the way, these 800 million people are across some 165 countries. So it's a revolution which is not just happening in India, it's happening across the world. There are roughly about 750 employees in the company of 28 nationalities. Half of them, or less than half of them, are in India, or are Indian origin. The rest of them, the remaining 27 nationalities, obviously constitute the remaining half of the company. And we do this across some 30 offices in the world that we have been able to put. And those 30 offices in the world essentially constitute our global footprint. What that has gotten us to is that we are today the second largest network in the world after Google. In this economy of mobile, in this advertising space of mobile, we believe that we have now reached a stage where globally we are fairly well known. We have been able to put our products out in the market. People have seen those products. People are using those products. We have almost 80% penetration into the customers that are today who have any semblance of mobile advertising that they do. And we believe that we are still in the early days of our growth. And we have been able to do this in the last 5 years. We just celebrated 2 weeks ago our fifth year anniversary. So we're very excited because we felt that our last 5 years have been nice. We have done a few things right. We learned a lot, we made tons of mistakes, but the next 5 years are going to be phenomenal because that's when what we have been able to put in the last 5 years will really turn into something large. And we are now working towards that, and we are far more excited about making that work. But what we always remember is where all of this started off from. We started this all from one place, and we keep that in our head because that's needed. It's also important for us to keep going back to know that as we take on the newer initiatives, we will be able to take them to the next level in the next 5 years. And that's also for all the people out here that, if you are going to start something today, that is going to be taken to those levels without any challenge. And I actually believe the reason we have been able to get to where we are is because we have built some great products. We have focused completely on making sure that our product strategy is strong, our products are great, and we have great people building those products, because then you don't need to sell it. They sell largely by themselves. Obviously, you will put people to support it, etc., etc., but you don't need to force it. And therefore, your growth is far higher. And you continue to grow country by country. You continue to move from one office to another office, one region to another region, and you keep on going from there. And I think that's essentially what great products do, because your growth is, significantly faster than what you would imagine. So from there to here is what we think can happen in 5 years with us. We believe that in a market which is growing faster today, from there to here will happen much faster for the companies that will start now. And I think that's what this is all about. Potentially being able to build something into billions of dollars in a matter of few years is possible in the product economy. It's possible when you build these great products, focus on the quality, focus on the customer value proposition, and you'll be able to kind of go out and build those things. And I think that's what potentially excites us a lot. All this has been great. Very good. We love those numbers. We like those numbers. But I would say the journey has been about something slightly larger. It's something bigger than just these numbers, the position in terms of our market share, etc. I think, and I believe, we are building a great company. We want to make sure that we are impacting. We are impacting the world. In that process, we will and we want to build a great company. And it's critical to build one, because great companies have lasting impact. So we continuously focus on making sure that are we having that lasting impact that will potentially change something. It may be changing in developing markets how employment happens, creating a new economy altogether. Or it may be changing the way things are looked upon in a specific country or market. But we are all completely focused on trying to build something great. And we love the fact, completely, and there are, I think, some 25, 30 people right now in the audience from InMobi, and you can ask those people. We love the fact that we are doing it from India. It gives us immense pride to be doing it from India. Because we think if we can do it from here, it will spark off a new revolution of building products which can go global and make an impact. I probably won't make the statement to say that we have had that impact yet, but I'm pretty sure and pretty damn sure that we will make that impact at some point of time, if not in the next few years. We believe that we may have built one of the largest global product companies from India. And we like that. But we're not satisfied with that. We think we may need to build something which is where we just remove one of the largest from there. It has to be the largest. Our focus is to try and build a great company, probably one of the largest companies in the world in the internet space. We are completely focused on that. We are completely and always unsatisfied with ourselves in our quest to build something larger. And I think that's what makes the place where what we do on a day-to-day basis very exciting. And I think that's what we will try and do over the next 5 years also as we go down that path. So I was asked to, as I was asked to kind of prepare for this talk, I was asked to talk about 3 secrets. Kind of scratched my head. It's like, I don't know what's the secret here. And so I thought a lot. I'll come up with something. Not sure whether that's a secret or not, but what I'll try and share are 3 things that we believe that we do well at least. One, we have a very good culture. Okay, we have extremely open culture. We are very hardworking. And I thought that hard work is completely important, therefore we do a lot of the hard work. The culture is important, so therefore we are very open in what we do. And that's what we try and do every day, because we have a very good culture. Maybe that was not the thing. Maybe the thing is, going down the path of strategy and doing like a lot of strategy work. And so we do a lot of that also. And we try and think that maybe strategy is where, we can figure out a lot of those things. Well, maybe not strategy also. Maybe it's when the leadership team comes together and they think and come up with the next level of strategy and say, all right, this is what we are going to do in the next 2 quarters. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe it's our partnerships that we have struck, especially in the early days, where we would go down, in the first year and strike some of these amazing partnerships with players where we think that they're very combined with mobile advertising and they are going to really scale us to the next level. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's something different. Maybe it's about, us trying to do all of those things in some shape and form. I actually believe few things that have really worked well for us, outside of these nice things that we do in terms of strategy, planning, open culture, etc. I think one of the things that we have done very well, and we believe that's one of the things that's a mindset issue, is to think big. And I call this out more from an India perspective, because I believe this issue of mindset exists here. A lot of the time I end up meeting people where people just don't believe that they can do it. I actually think if we can figure out a way of breaking out of this shackle, of restricting our own selves, because it's not the capability, because the capability is very high. I think it boils down to our own inhibitions, our own mindset, our own thinking that we won't be able to do it. I actually don't believe that that should be the issue. When we were, in our early days, we always aimed at trying to build something large, potentially something worth billions of dollars. And, we started off, we made tons of changes because the quest of trying to build something large was always there. So we started off with a mobile search idea. We thought that we'll build it, that's a billion-dollar idea. Then we figured that's not it. Then we tried to do something in SMS advertising. We thought that could be the big entity that we really want to do. We couldn't come up with that. We kind of changed it. We effectively, at some point of time, stumbled upon this idea of mobile ad network. Swear to God, we had no idea when we came up with the ad network model that we understood ad network. But we figured it out on our way. The north that we always kept for ourselves was, is this large? Is this going to be a big, impactful entity that will create, that will impact the world or not? If not, we were just not going to do it. We made changes in our first 6 months. We gave up 2 business models in the first 6 or 9 months of our existence. I actually think that was a great thing for us to do, because we were willing to fail very quickly. We were giving up things very quickly on the quest of making sure that we build something large. What we were not willing to give up is building something large. The second thing that probably we did well in that same thing is we've gone after a very aggressive product strategy. I'll give you a sense of that. The aggressiveness of our product strategy, this is how we started off. Till last year, we were an ad network, an advertising network. We competed with few players. There are a few more on the chart that can appear. And we said that's a great strategy to go ahead with. But can we beat an Apple or a Google in the mobile ad game by being Apple and Google? Or should we beat them, or should we try to beat them with a different point of view? So we basically went after, moving from an ad network, we became an ecosystem player. And in 1 year, we have basically we have moved or expanded ourselves from having 3 or 5 competitors to having about 25 competitors across a variety of different things. It's an aggressive product strategy that we took up. That aggressive product strategy potentially at some point of time will lead us to the next level of growth. By the way, in the previous model, we would have done extremely fine, very fine. But we felt that that has taken us to a certain stage. Will it take us to the 10x from where we are there? Because the quest of becoming larger and more impactful doesn't stop. And therefore, in the last 1 year, we made acquisitions. We launched new markets. made some major investments in new markets. We basically innovated like crazy. We moved from having like 5 product managers to 27 product managers in 1 year. We increased our engineering workforce from 150 to about 300. We increased our sales force from, whatever, 200 odd people, 150 odd people to about 400 people. We made all of those scaling impacts. And by the way, we made tons of mistakes as we scaled because we had no idea how to scale. We made tons of mistakes, but we knew if we don't make that attempt, we probably will not be able to get to the scale that we really want to get to and have the impact that we really want to have. And I think that has really helped us in some shape and form. I think the aim for those billions of dollars has always been there, and I don't want to kind of use that billion as a derogatory term by saying, look, it's a number and why this. It's more of a point of impact, because once you're large, you will have impact in some shape and form. So therefore, that impact has always driven us. We always believe that that's critical for us to drive and do. The question that I always have is, when will a large part of India get into that mode? Because we have the capability, we have the, potentially we even have the ambition. It is just some inhibitions in our mind that stops us from doing so. And I believe that, that's a critical piece in order for us to, create impact across the globe. The second one, so I try to put 3, and I used to work for consulting, so I always come up with 3 things. So the second one that I believe that we have done well on, and I think a lot of the people should try and look at, is going global. Now, the whole point around being global and going global, etc., it's easier than it seems. Like, these people make it to be too hard, and there is no reason for it to be that hard. Like, there is no reason. Actually, frankly speaking, if you have built a business in Bangalore and if you have to go, do a sale in Delhi, I think it's harder than to do it in Singapore. Just the flight time is also pretty similar. So we don't really I never understood why it's made out to be far more complex than it is. I think it's far easier. And I also believe that too many folks when you're trying to think of that, come out and tell you not to do it because it's so hard, and please ignore them. And ignore them because they have not done it. Like, you don't want to listen to people who have not done it. Listen to people who may have tried it and have failed, or have tried it and have succeeded, because they'll tell you that A, it's not that hard, B, it's far more impactful, because if you do it smartly, you could potentially have a 5 to 10x larger potential than what you would have otherwise, especially as a product company, because that impact of 5 to 10x can be a difference in you picking up, a $20 million of venture funding or no venture funding. And the reason for that is because every investment looks for an exit. The exit doesn't exist in markets like India, and especially in the early days, because the market size are not that large. I actually believe it also creates a different culture. It has a huge impact on culture, and we felt it inside in Mobi, because we got rid of this whole chalta hai attitude that it's okay to have a decent product. It's not necessarily required to build the highest quality product. We have a quest of building the highest quality product, and we fight for it every day. We are unhappy if we don't build something which is extremely high quality. And I think that change in culture is also very critical that these things bring out. I think Indian companies have a unique opportunity in going global. And I've had this, for the last 3 years. I have believed in this for the last 3 years. And I'll tell you where I think that really comes from. I think as an Indian company, so you have the companies out of US, right? The US companies will basically, they have US as a market, pretty large. So they start off in Silicon Valley, then they go to San Francisco, then they look at California, and then if they want to really expand, they go to US. Once they've expanded into US, then they look at, global expansion, they think of Europe, they land in UK. And that's a pretty good strategy for them because they kind of cover, Western Europe and North America, and, that's a strategy. The Chinese companies essentially look at China. They don't really need to come out of China. They have 1.3 billion or 4 billion people or whatever that number is. They have a lot of people. They have a huge domestic market. They don't really need to come out, and they don't really want to come out. And then you have the Japanese companies largely out of Japan now, obviously thinking of getting out. But apart from that, if as an Indian company, I actually believe that there is a huge opportunity for us to essentially not only look at India, but look at Southeast Asia, look at Middle East, look at Africa, because there is a huge similarity in the way we look at things. There is a huge similarity in the way we use products, in our lifestyles, etc. And so therefore, instead of only having India as a market, if you can actually expand it across this belt, you're actually potentially creating 3 to 5x higher, larger, maybe even 10x larger businesses. It also gives you stability against things that are going away, things that are not working in some country or other. And I think as Indian companies and as venture capitalists who may be sitting here, they should actually try and promote this, looking at this belt. And I think we can own this belt. I think it's actually far easier to go after this belt because this belt actually consists of a lot of people. The belt consists of a lot of revenue and money that we can actually take, and it takes your business to the next level. I also think that traveling is a lot more fun if you actually have built something like this. Seriously. You can actually, you can actually enjoy, you can go to different places, you can meet different kind of people, eat different kind of food. You could do a lot of those things. So the first one was essentially about thinking big. The second one was for us was about going global. The third one that I think, and again, I don't want it to sound as a cliche, but I actually think hiring the best. And I kind of debated this a lot before putting it up here, because I know everyone knows that hiring the best is, like who wouldn't want to hire not like the best people? But here is what it basically means. At InMobi at least, and I'll give you a sense of how we have tried to do it and how that has helped us. We have some unbelievable people coming from some great companies in the world, coming from some great universities that they've attended. And I think that has created a very different level of environment, very different level of product, because especially as a product company, as you try and do this, you actually need highly talented people, very driven people. And we've also hired a lot of ex-entrepreneurs. If an ex-entrepreneur walks into the company, the default answer is yes, that we will hire you. We'll figure out what to do with you later on. The ex-entrepreneur success rate in the company is probably the highest amongst anything else. No matter which institute you have been to, which college you have been to, which school you have been to, which company you're coming from, if you're an ex-entrepreneur, your probability of success is the highest. We love those guys. We love those guys. Now, hiring the best, and I know people have read this in all the books that they've seen, hiring the best is about 1.5 times more expensive. But here is the deal with it. They're also about 20x more productive. So you know what? Hiring those high quality people is actually cheaper. And we have seen it in the company. It's actually cheaper on your P&L to hire better people. It is not. I think the challenge is how do you incentivize them? And I think incentivize them with like a lot of equity is not a bad strategy to have, because if you can incentivize them, please do, because they will give you the returns that you need over a short to long period of time. I think the challenge that we face today is this whole argument around number of seats that we look at. That, I have to build this product, I have 25 engineers, I'll put 25 into multiplied by some number, and that's my cost of building the product. Oh, you're building this product, I can replicate it. That's not how it works. The products cannot be replicated. You cannot replicate a product. There is no way that you cannot not hire the best if you want to succeed as a product company. If you want to succeed as a product company across the globe, there is no way that you can try and not to hire the best of the best people. We actually believe that we have one of the best teams in the world. Truly believe that. We have spent, the senior management and the founders spend unbelievable amount of time trying to hire the people. Actually, I believe I'm an HR guy, because that's the time, that's most of the things that I do. Most of the time I end up spending on that. We're certain that we have one of the best engineering teams, by the way. We're certainly in the country. And we don't have any qualms in actually accepting that. And a mark of that is, in the last 4 years, we have had 10 startups come out of InMobi. If you hire the best people, they will move on. And we should be okay with it. We actually celebrate that. We actually hate it when they go to somebody else. But if they go on to build something better, larger, more impactful, please. We give them all that they need. We give them space if you need, try and pull in money for them. We give them, whatever they need. But that's where it gets down to, that you basically can try and do this. So I think we have 3 things that we talked about, at least from what we believe as InMobi that we've been able to do is to be able to think big, try and go global, and hire the best people. And I think if we are able to do this, we potentially can actually build, anyone out here can actually potentially build a great product company that has a global impact. I actually truly believe that the next 10 to 15 years truly belong to India from a product perspective. I know it's a cliched statement in the sense, oh, well, everyone says it, so, what's the point? But actually, I do believe because, domestic markets are better. People actually have less inhibitions about going global and trying to capture, becoming a dominant player in a belt, not necessarily always flying to US and trying to go build a business there, because you can sell products out here also. The opportunities of selling are far higher. And I think the quality of entrepreneurship, just in the last 5 years where I've been far more involved as an entrepreneur, the quality of entrepreneurship has gone at least 10x in the last 5 years itself. The kind of people that are coming out and saying we want to build a company, it's purely because, and they're actually very open to failing. It used to be a social stigma to say, look, I've failed. It used to be a social stigma to say I've not succeeded. Actually, I think people are very open about failing. I actually love the fact somebody comes up and says, well, I tried it, I failed. Because you know what? If you have tried it and you have failed, you are far better than somebody who has not tried it. And therefore, your value in the larger entity is far higher. And therefore, I think as some of those societal changes happen, some of those mindset changes happen, we have the next 10 to 15 years where I think several billion-dollar product companies will be created. And they will not just be created, more importantly, they will actually change the world. And I think with that, if we can start to impact the globe with our products, not just ourselves, we will change the world. Just like we did with the services model in the last 20 years or so, over the next 20 years, 15 to 20 years, we will change it through our products. Because we do have all the talent that we require. We do have all the resources that we require in order to build it. We have, unbelievable English language access and capability that not many others have. I think we have all the things that are required. I think this crowd out here also shows that there is a huge desire to build great products. And I think if we are able to do this, there is no reason for us not to have, 10 to 15 other billion-dollar product companies come out over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that's what this forum is all about. I think that's what this session is all about. And I, give all the people who are out here who are trying to do this, the best of luck in trying to become the next billion-dollar company, because I think there is no reason for you not to have done that. Thank you on that. Really enjoyed it.
What an insightful and inspirational speech. But unfortunately, Naveen, we've run out of time. But I know we have a commitment from you. You're going to hang out with us the next couple of days? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. So you can meet Naveen. He's going to be very accessible to all of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And don't forget your shoes.
Oh, change the shoes already, right?
Exactly. You change your shoes. So
don't forget the old ones.
Exactly. I'm going to go bring my tennis shoes at the next break myself.